Hello, welcome to 5 Minutes of Good in April. My sister shared on Facebook this week a video from the show called The Project here in Australia. The Project is a bit of like a news, current affairs show. And so she shared it on her Facebook, and I wanted to share some parts from it because it was very, very good. And what I actually left with was a real sense of gratitude for being able to live here in this wonderful country called Australia during this whole COVID-19 crisis. So I'm going to share a few facts with you from that story. If you want to check it out, I suggest you could go on Facebook and type in The Project and COVID-19 Australia, something like that, and find the story. It's very, very good. But I just wanted to share some facts and hopefully inspire some gratitude in you tonight. So the first one is Australia's population density, or lack thereof, is a huge advantage in this pandemic. So for example, if we look at Sydney, which is our largest city, our most populated city, it has 407 people per square kilometre. And then if you compare that with New York, which is obviously sadly one of the most highly affected places of COVID-19 in the USA, New York has 38,000 people per square kilometre. So comparing 407 people per square kilometre to 38,000 people per square kilometre. And that's our most populated city. Australia's healthcare system is also one of the best in the world. There are so many other lower income countries that just don't have the benefits that we do, that don't have the capacity of a system, that don't perhaps even have the sanitation and hygiene practices that we have here in Australia. Not only that, we have some of the best practitioners in the world here in Australia. Also, the fact that we currently enjoy the average home being approximately 3 bedrooms and at least 2 living areas, whether that's a dining area and a TV area, or 2 living areas and a kitchen, or whatever it may be. But we have the privilege of space here in Australia, even in our homes, in our dwellings. Compare that to somewhere like India, where many people definitely don't have their own rooms. And there are some families living in just one room, an entire family living in one room right next door to another family living in just one room. And there's an Indian doctor that has been quoted, some of you might have seen it on the social media. He says, social distancing is a privilege. It means you live in a house large enough for you to practice it. Hand washing is a privilege too. It means you have access to running water. Hand sanitizer is a privilege. It means that you have money to buy it. Lockdowns are a privilege. It means you can afford to be at home. Most of the ways to ward the corona off are accessible only to the affluent. So when we get ourselves a little bit stressed during this time about perhaps our lack of human contact, or whether our child is going to miss 1 or 2 terms from our world-class education, or that our hands are dry from washing them too much, just remember how privileged we really are. And even if you've lost your job, or you have a chronic health problem, or you've had to put off a major life event, perhaps like a wedding, or you've had to put off the funeral even of a loved one, remember that you still live in one of the most privileged countries in the world. We are totally #blessed. There's definitely no place I would rather be experiencing this global pandemic than here in this country right now. And for those that don't happen to live in Australia but maybe are watching, the fact that you're probably watching me on possibly a handheld mobile device just proves that you are still one of the most privileged demographics in the world. So when I think in response to this posture of gratitude I then find myself when I think about these things. And after the afterglow of Easter, I wonder how then should we respond? Thinking about being the person that I am, in the time and place that I live, what does loving God and people look like? Now that might be a question, hopefully, that you keep asking and that you keep answering for the rest of your life. But right now, today, in April 2020, what does that look like for you? Being the person that you are in the time and place where you live right now, what does loving God and people look like for you? Remember, you are good, you are loving, you are kind. Bye.